So we worked on a couple things today, but only one thing at a time. Center position we didn't have to change. I did move you up a little bit because we're going to shorten the first step. So first we just worked on the shorter first step. Okay, that's smoother and smaller. Okay, so not bad on that. If you watch the original shot again, it was bigger and more kind of forceful and clunky.
And smoother and smaller than that previous is better.
Absolutely.
I can still get smoother
Yep,
and I can get smaller. Okay.
exactly. But this is definitely better than the original one.
Yes.
Okay. Then we start to work on the push rate a little bit, on the feeling of a soft, smooth, kind of a slower but really small push. Okay. That's the first one you thought small, and it came down a little bit too low. Keep in mind, if it doesn't go out as far, it will drop sooner, so you don't have to be as quick. Okay, so always smooth and small. We made the joke that it's a motion sensor bomb. Okay, so that one at the end of step two was definitely below the belt with the center of the ball. So he did some more. This is you thinking a little bit slower push, still small. It's a little bit less forceful. And when you work on one piece, you can't worry about the other piece too much. Okay. Not too bad. Even that, we don't want it any lower than that. That would be just a hair below the belt. Okay. That's that two-step and stop drill, which I think is a very good drill for you.
Okay. Okay.
Because if you're too forceful, you can't stop on two. And remember when I stood in front of you, just subconsciously, you're not going to plow me over. So it makes you be softer. You had a nice first step, and notice on step two, you're not locked. Okay. It literally takes force to lock with the weight. So usually the elbow will get to the front of the side, but the arm won't be locked. So I'll show you that with Brad again. Ball goes out and down, but he's not locked. So the elbow cleared the side, but he's not past his side. Okay. If we go back to your original shot today, you have a bigger, more forceful push. So your whole elbow is passing your side and you're locked. Okay. Okay. So this is a very good drill for you. Okay. Then we went back to full approach and we worked on, remember I said super slow, but super small on the push away. So that's at the end of the step. So that's definitely a little bit better than when you came in. When you came in at the end of the step, you see how you're locking out higher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Way out.
So the ball's about the same spot, but this one's out further. And that kind of pulls your shoulders more forward. Okay. And yes, when you go home, you can work on a heel toe step three. We didn't work on that today because I know we worked on that last year.
Right. Right. I got
Okay.
good idea on that.
Yeah. But you see how the swing is about the same. It actually went up a little bit more because you had more fluidity. Okay.
Look at that. Yes.
Okay. So not bad. Then worked on the back foot yet. Okay. Then we worked on the back foot of keep the back foot down. And you did that very easily. Right there. Okay. And that's always a good thing. It's never going to hurt you to have better balance and leverage. I like that the follow through cleaned itself up. It's just kind of going up and down. When you came in, it was going up and stopping.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay. So this is just a smoother. You didn't lose any power. The ball actually read the lane better, and it was less work physically. Okay. The last thing we worked on is more of a challenge. I'm going to show you two different shots of a release here. I'll use Brad for this. The first shot, we were working on kind of having a big steep angle, like really swinging the ball a lot. Um, Sometimes on tour the heads hooked, so they have to be very steep through the heads. But the mid lane and the backhands get super slick, so they have to be slow, steep, but hit the crap out of it, which they make look easy and super complicated and hard. So this is kind of a really big angle here. You can see,
Yes.
but look how loose his arm is. Right, and the back foot stays down on the pinky toe side. Okay, if we reference the release, so he starts before he starts his release. You think of a face of clock. He's more like 7 o'clock with the fingers, just inside the equator. When he wants more axis rotation, he'll go from inside the equator to outside the equator, but nothing will ever go past the circumference of the ball. So you'll see that here. He's inside the equator to outside the equator with the fingers. So there's a few 4 or 5 inches of lateral motion on the ball, about 2 to 3 hours on the face of a clock. Okay, and that gives more side turn to the ball, forward and side. Now, when he's playing more direct, the same ball, same lane, but playing way straighter angles here, okay, he'll have less rotation with the fingers. So he still starts right at 7 o'clock. That's the same. But this one, he doesn't go much past the center of the ball.
And they describe it as up the back.
Correct.
And it's not 100% up the back.
There's still some rotation. Yes. So you see his ring finger never past the center, and then he comes through. And that's just going to be a little bit more forward roll. Okay? So sometimes when you work on keeping the hand in longer, if it stays in, you'll just have a forward roll. You won't rotate it. Okay? And that's not a bad thing at first. But then obviously we need to have the fingers rotate. So with you, we were trying to keep that wrist in just a hair more. And I really think it's related to the other stuff. And even your original shot, it wasn't like it was bad. It was better than last year by quite a bit. But this year, she's trying to keep that wrist in a little bit more. And still went out a little bit. But also, notice on this one, that's where you started your release. That's where you ended it. So there wasn't much lateral motion, which was just more of a flat ball. Okay? So make sure that when you're keeping the wrist in, it's okay to throw a couple where it's just pretty straight, actually, just to teach your body to keep that part of the wrist and palm in. But then we don't want flat. We don't want you to play playing 10 and leave a 5 pin. Okay? So we still need to have some rotation there. And that's not hard to get back.
And it's just the fingers is the way to think about it.
Correct. Yeah. And that's a
Wrist,
nope.
the arm,
nope.
not the elbow.
This is a pretty good one. Look, you're inside the equator to a little bit outside the equator. Okay. But whenever it seems more flat, you probably have less actual motion with the fingers. Okay. All right. And you were thinking about your hand position. Hey, look at your back foot. So you see, as you work on different pieces, they're going to start to meld together. Okay. But it's all mind work. And the more you can visualize what you want to do, the more your body will start to do it. Okay. So even the self-talk, we talked about that, keeping the positive tense. Make sure you're telling your body what to do instead of what not to do. And give yourself the grace that you give your teammates of, if it's a bad shot, like, all right, shake it off. I know I can throw that next one better instead of saying, oh my God, I suck. Okay. Because every time Pat throws a bad shot, you don't say, oh my God, you suck. Now, if you do, you're joking and you laugh. The subconscious mind is literal. It doesn't have a sense of humor. So, and when you say to yourself, you suck, not out loud, you're not joking. So different meaning. Okay. All right. Let's stop recording there. That.